Hi guys, well if you're new to the channel, I've split from Svetlana, and having to find somewhere to live, I was looking for a sailboat project. I found this 1988 Beneteau First 305 that had been abandoned. It's in a bit of a sorry state. The headline is missing just about everywhere. The bilges were full of water, and the engine was in bits. So I've given myself 6 weeks to get it back up and running and seaworthy. So join me on the journey, and if you like what I'm doing, hit the subscribe button. Thanks. So I started to look at the depth gauge and the problems with that, and I've just found out that the cable for the depth sensor was just coiled in here. It's never been run, so I'm just running that through now. It's got to go through this bench here and through into the toilet area, and then there on the bulkhead is the depth gauge, and I've got a replacement gauge for it, so I need to run the cable and then worry about the rest. But the weather's starting to close in, so I'm probably going to just run this cable and then we'll get going, get back to Vliho Bay where it's safe, I think. Okay, so I've removed all this wiring and traced everything, and basically the reason why this only turns on when the cabin lights are on is because the power is actually wired into the cabin lights up here, which is a bit of a pain. So I need to run power from here through so that I'm not leaving it turned on when the cabin lights are on. This cable here, labelled 9, don't know what it is, but obviously it's going to be labelled 9 somewhere on there, so I can trace it through and work out what it's actually supposed to be and whether it's supposed to be there or not. And once I've traced this and sorted all that and got the depth gauge actually in, I've got to tackle this bathroom because it is horrible. So, but what I've done, this is the depth gauge, it's a sea torque, and I've been told that it's the red and the yellow that is actually positive and earth, so, or positive and ground. So I'm going to basically wire that in and just make sure it works, and then if it does, I'm going to fit it. And that's today's job, because I can't be moving around with that depth gauge. And as I say, once I've done this, I've got an inverter to pick up at the yacht club. It's just arrived, and that will give me 240 volts, which means I can run a vacuum cleaner, which means that I can really start on this and get it as clean as I can. Look at that, it works. It actually works. Brilliant. So I've got my depth. Not too worried about speed, although we could probably try wiring that in, but I think depth is the important one, so I'm happy with that. Let's get this mounted. Come on then. clean this up now.
Okay, that's wired in. So I've got the positive to the red and the negative to the black or grey that is there, and the yellow is free. So that's good. And what I've done is I've used the clips and I've just literally snipped them in half to make them the right width to shove on there. So yeah, and it works. I've got it wired to this switch, which I'm going to wire into. I'm going to drill a hole and wire in to the panel shortly. Turn that on. You heard a beep. And there you go. We have depth at last. 6 meters, which is about right actually for where we are. So spot on. Pleased with that. I've got to do this hole next and start filling that in where I've taken this other old unit off. And, should be good. So I'll just tidy up the panel, get that all sorted, and then work on this. Okay, so battery monitor is in, Starlink is wired in, depth gauge is wired in. So the depth gauge is on this one, Starlink is on this one. So when I want the Starlink on, I've got to plug the router in to USB, but otherwise we're good. Right, all this lot I need to tidy up and I need to vacuum. I've got a vacuum cleaner, and you can see this is all the rubbish from the bathroom to go. And then in here, ignore the bed at the moment, in here, this is a little, it says 3000 watt, but it's actually 1500 watt, 3000 burst. So I've just got to wire it into the battery, but these cables are a little bit short, so I'm trying to decide what to do. I want to get rid of all of this gubbins here, and I think the best way of doing that is to route it behind here down, which means drilling some little holes here just to route the cables through. So little holes just behind here to route the cables through, and then down to the battery. So yeah, that's going to be the next job. Now, the reason why I'm doing it in this order is because I work online, so I need two things. I need power to keep the laptops charged and keep Starlink running, and I need Starlink because I need decent internet. So my priority has got to be to get that up and running, to get the boat safe, and then I can start on the cosmetic stuff. So I've painted out the rear cabin because obviously I'm sleeping in there and I just wanted it to be a nice space. What I've got to do next is in here. I'll show you in here, because this is horrible. This is a ghetto. So I've done the wiring for the depth gauge there. I've got a little bit of fiberglass work to do, and I've just put that piece of duct tape on to hold the round piece of core I've cut while I fiberglass it in from the outside, and then I'll fiberglass the inside. All of this white lining's got to come out, and then all of the old adhesive has got to come off, and then I'm going to paint this white. Once I've painted it white, I'll then make a decision about what I do next with it. It's in the mould on the wood. I need to get rid of all this. I need to clean this thoroughly, and then once I've cleaned it, I'll then make a decision about what I do with the woodwork in here, whether to leave it like this or maybe paint it. I think maybe paint is a good idea. And then I've got to sort out the toilet because the pump is not working. So I'm going to take the pump off and take it to bits, which is a job I'm really not looking forward to, and see if I can resurrect it. And if I can't, I need to work out what sort of pump it is and where you get them from, and then we can work from there. So I turn this into a better environment. So that's the jobs I'm working on at the moment. The first thing is just get this place a bit cleaner, a bit tidier. This is my rubbish bag. That is my laundry. And it's over there because, I mean, I usually use this bench, but it's all over there because I had to get in here to run the depth cable. So I'll start putting things away and getting it tidy again before I start any more work, I think.